Hello, my name's Tim, welcome to Tim Burbage Reads, and today I'm going to be talking to you about The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Legendary Edition. So I bought this book in Foyles in central London, and for, I think it was 20 quid, which is quite a lot. But this is a manga, and this is the Legendary Edition because it has both volumes of the story. One volume was Link when he's younger, one volume is Link when he's an adult, and also the first few pages, the first chapter, are in colour before it moves to your normal black and white manga. This is by story and art by Akira Himikawa, which is a pseudonym for two ladies who work together and have done the majority of the Legend of Zelda mangas, and they've done some other stuff prior. This edition was first printed in 2016. I don't know when the actual manga came out. So I have a very close relationship with the Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time came out in 98 on the N64. My brother had an N64. My brother got this game. It came in a gold cartridge. I was like 9, 10 when it came out and not very good at video games. But I started playing it because my brother played it and I wanted to be him. And I put so many hours into this game and I was really not very good at it. Where I got to was I did all of the first bit. So this game, when you play it, you are a child to start with in the Kokiri forest, and you complete 3 dungeons, and then you unlock the Temple of Time, and then the big thing happens, and you travel 7 years in time, and you become an adult, and you play the second half of the game, or the second 2/3 of the game, really, as an adult. And then you take on the Forest Temple, the Water Temple, the Fire Temple, the Shadow Temple, the Spirit Temple. That might be it. Before taking on Ganondorf and freeing the land of Hyrule. And I did the Forest Temple, and then I got stuck on the Fire Temple because there was one bit where you had to run up a spiral staircase to, I think, reach the Megaton Hammer, which was like the item in it. And I fell off, and I fell like all the way down to the bottom of the dungeon, and I couldn't get back. I couldn't figure out how to get back to that room in the dungeon, and so I gave up. And then you could play your ocarina to travel to different parts, and I played the ocarina, I traveled somewhere else, and I could never get back to that bit again. And so what I did as a kid was I just stayed in Child Link form and just wandered around, went to Lon Lon Ranch, went around Hyrule Field, went to the Kokiri Forest, or Kokiri Forest, I kind of go between the two, see all my mates there, go hiya and roll a lot. I did a lot of that, chatting to Navi and all this kind of stuff. And I never finished the game as a kid. One thing was that my brother finished the game. So my brother beat the game, and my save file, I was still stuck on the Fire Temple, and I'd wander around, and then I'd play the Prelude of Light, and go back to the Temple of Time, and then turn into an adult, and then come out into Castle Town in Hyrule, and there'd be re-deads there, and I'd hate that, and then I'd run back in, and turn back into a kid again, because the town was great, there were games, and all kinds of stuff, and I was addicted to being a kid, which I think is fair, and I didn't really like the adult part of the game. My brother finished the game. And what's great about the Zelda games is when you beat them, your file, it says that you've beaten the game, but you can still go in and beat the final boss. So what I did was I went on my brother's game and I beat Ganon and I beat Ganondorf. And I beat the game. And that included doing some, you climb the spiral staircase and you hear the organ playing, and it's just so many emotions so many memories tied to that game. And then when I was in sixth form college, me and my 2 friends, we tried to beat the game in like a week, and we played it so much. And we did the Fire Temple, we did the Water Temple, we did the whole thing up until we got to the start of Ganon's castle, which is the final dungeon. And then we ran out of time. And we'd done about half of the dungeon, I want to say. So, and then since then I haven't played it. But I remember so much of it so well from playing it so much as a kid, and then having that week intense, playing it. It's such a good game. So I had a lot of nostalgia going into this, and I knew it's an adaptation. There's going to be some changes. I was quite looking forward to those changes, and this was a very faithful adaptation, especially the first part where you are young Link and you're in the Kokiri Forest. They make Mido a much bigger character, which I quite enjoy. I enjoy that part. The dungeons themselves are a lot smaller because going around a dungeon in a manga is not very interesting. So it's mainly like, oh, here's the boss. You have to face the boss, you know. So he goes into the dungeon, and then the next panel is he beats the boss. You know, he fights the boss, you know, which I am fine with. You do get the bit trying to infiltrate Hyrule Castle and meeting Zelda, which is so iconic. You know, you get time with Epona, you get time with Malon, you get time with Kabora Gabora, who's a hilarious character. It's a very faithful adaptation. Then in the second half, it starts getting a little bit different. One, the Shadow Temple's completely missed, which is a shame because I do think Bongo Bongo as a boss is a very iconic boss because of his look. He's so different. And the Shadow Temple itself is really cool, but it's completely wiped. It's not in this at all, which is a shame. The Spirit Temple, I think, the Spirit Temple's a bit different because you kind of go between adult and child Link, and this you only experience it as adult Link, but Naburu, who you work with, she is like, oh, I know where that is. I've hid it away, because that's what you do when you're a kid, which I think is really clever. I really like that. I like how one thing that's very different in this is Volvagia, who is the boss of the Fire Temple. They put in that Link bought him as a pet and trained him as a kid, which I was like, what? Is this something I've missed? But it's a retcon even in their own book. Like, they don't have that in the first volume at all, which kind of adds a lot of... it's a big character moment for Link. One thing, you know, the action in this story is just fantastic. Let me see if I can find a good panel that's not kind of too spoiler. Look at that panel. So this is where you do go up against Dark Link. It doesn't happen in the Water Temple. It happens in its own section, which I'm fine with, because I think Dark Link is more iconic than the location that you find him in. So I'm fine with them taking them out. Sheik is a really interesting character in this. I don't remember if Sheik works with Ganondorf in the original game. I don't remember that. But there's one thing as well where, like, Sheik, you see the flashback to Zelda turning into Sheik, and they kind of lock their memories away, so Sheik doesn't even know that they're Zelda, necessarily. Yeah, and then the ending's just fantastic. And right at the end, you get the iconic moment for me, which still makes me sad, is when Link has saved the world as an adult, and Zelda says, I acknowledge that you lost your childhood. You lost 7 years of your life, so I'm going to send you back in time. And then we cut back to Link, and he goes and he finds the Master Sword as a kid. And you see that the Great Deku tree had a baby. And then the final shot is Link meeting Zelda again as kids, which is just, it's a beautiful way. It's a beautiful way to end the game. It's a beautiful way to end the story. You do get an extra bonus story. So you get 2 bonus stories in this, one after each volume. The first is about Skull Kid and how he got his mask, not Majora's Mask, which I thought was great because it was actually really dark, and Skull Kid is such an interesting character. And then the second one is just random. It's so random. It's Link, as an adult, finds this random bird kid and rescues him. He's not a Ruto. It's just like a new race that doesn't even live in Hyrule. But you do get to see the person running the observatory, who is a very weird side character in Ocarina of Time. He becomes more of a character in Majora's Mask. And then you also have the best moment, which is a bit I did a lot as a kid, where you steal the fisherman's hat with the fishing hook. I did that so much. So it was nice to see those little nods. In terms of the art, so I think this art balances really well. First of all, in the colour pages, the colours just pop. They're so beautiful. But I think this does a really good job of balancing, like, the action and the drama, but also with like some silliness, especially when Link's a kid. There's some really funny, silly moments, which remind me a bit of Dragon Ball, like that kind of fun but also serious kind of goes between the two. I think it balances that well. Those silly moments definitely disappear as you get older because the book just gets more serious. So yeah, I absolutely love this book. This is a 5-star read. I'm so glad I bought it. I'm so glad I read it. I want to read more of the Zelda mangas. I want to read the Majora's Mask one because that's another game where I got all the way to the Stone Tower Temple and then got stuck and stopped. And then I also played, I know Twilight Princess has got like 10 volumes, which I think is really different. Twilight Princess is a game I liked. I was so hyped for it coming out. I liked it. I didn't love it. No, okay. I'm going to rephrase that. I still really love the game. I love all the Zelda games. I've got Breath of the Wild. I've beat Breath of the Wild. I haven't beat Tears of the Kingdom yet. I 100%ed Wind Waker. 100%ed Skyward Sword. Phantom Hourglass I had and didn't finish because I found the Temple of the Ocean King a bit repetitive. I didn't really enjoy that part. But yeah, so this was meant to be a book review and ended up just being me talking about the game, but I still love this book. So let me know what your favourite Zelda game is below, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out of my house!